Eric Cohn, executive editor of IndieWire. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, Eric. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Well, for so long, Netflix has been the dominant player in the streaming world. So I have to ask, is this subscriber loss a sign that the competition in the streaming wars is finally taking a toll on Netflix and that there may be a limit on how many services people can sign up for?
Well, we knew that this was heading this direction for years. It's been sort of a slow-mo march to the inevitable situation where Netflix is facing all the subscribers it's going to get, and a real problem in that with both inflation and the competition from other services. People know that they have options here. You don't have Netflix and nothing else. So this subscriber drop was absolutely inevitable. And the real question is, what can Netflix do to bring some more money into the door and make this service more cost effective to people who realize that they don't have to be tied to this service forever?
And we've seen several companies that thrived during the pandemic, like Zoom and Peloton, also take a tumble as their growth has slowed. How much did the pandemic skew how companies like Netflix were performing as we were all forced to stay at home and change our behavior in so many ways for the past 2 years?
Well, I think at first the pandemic was actually a silver lining for Netflix in the sense that people were at home, they were streaming more than ever, and their numbers jumped up significantly in that respect. But little by little, the economic toll took hold. And this is not a cheap service. Let's remember, people are spending between $15 and $20 a month. That's a big part of a lot of people's income. So they really have to ask themselves, what am I paying for at the end of the day? Does this particular service offer something that can't be replaced by another one?
So, Eric, what do you think this means for the future of Netflix? They forecast that they could lose even more subscribers in the coming months. Are changes that they are discussing, like an ad-supported version, the way to get more people back?
I think that an ad-supported version is going to result in a cheaper option, and that absolutely is a way to get more people back. It's also an opportunity for Netflix to get into certain parts of the world that it hasn't really been able to penetrate, like Africa, for example, where you could get to more subscribers that couldn't necessarily afford this service before. But I also think that we're going to see a lot of different experiments with Netflix in terms of what kind of a content business it's really in. Already we're seeing an interest in gaming, for example. So I think you could see more experiments along those lines. But it's going to be a real open question in the months ahead. How does Netflix make itself even more appealing to people? Because at this point, people know that they don't have to do Netflix or nothing.
And speaking of things that they're contemplating, Netflix also discussed how much they're losing from users who are sharing passwords, which they may try to crack down on. Any danger of that backfiring, given that so many people have gotten used to sharing their passwords with their family and their friends?
Yeah, I mean, it's been sort of this open secret for a while that everyone shares their Netflix passwords. It's how everyone sort of adapted to the streaming space and got around the need to be able to access this service, whether or not they could all afford it all at once. So cracking down is definitely going to create a backlash. The question is, how do people adapt? If you can't do this, do you give up on the service? Do you pay more? How badly do you need Netflix in your life? And I think that question is going to be answered very quickly in the months ahead.
And finally, Eric, what kind of impact do you think that this will have on the creative community and getting more shows and movies on streaming platforms? Netflix and other players have poured billions into content, but any concern for Hollywood that could slow down if customer growth doesn't continue?
Well, look, Netflix has been the biggest disruptive studio in Hollywood in modern history. I have a Roma poster over my shoulder as I'm speaking, and the kinds of material that Netflix has financed over the years is the kind of stuff that we haven't really seen Hollywood throwing support behind in traditional studio context for a very long time. So I think the real question is Netflix going to continue to feel comfortable throwing that kind of financial investment behind sort of riskier investments if the subscribers aren't showing up? And hopefully the answer is yes, but that means they need to figure out how to keep those subscribers coming in. So we'll see.
All right, we will definitely see. Eric Cohn, executive editor of IndieWire, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.